we are taking a look at another really odd dashcam recording, which was taken by a man who was on the way home one night. He tells us that it is pretty uncommon to come across people on that road, since it's very narrow and not intended for pedestrians. It was also very late that night, slimming down the chances that anybody would decide to walk these streets. Nevertheless, he came across a strange woman. The woman seems to be wearing red clothing of some sorts, but she's not carrying any light source, meaning that she must have been walking up that road for hours in pitch darkness. But the man didn't think anything of it and drove past her, only to run into her again a few minutes later. How was that possible? How could the lady be walking up this pitch-black mountain road faster than a car? Of course, this is impossible, and the man was sure that he must have captured a ghost that night. This recording was shared by an officer who stated that they noticed something strange in the abandoned building across the police station. Their CCTV camera captured what appeared to be people, even though nobody was living there. It is pretty clear that there are two outlines that are not accounted for. How is this possible? As stated before, nobody was living in this building at the time. Was it perhaps two visitors from the afterlife? Now it's time to take a look at an update from user Dino Nuggets, who's keeping us on the edge of our seats for several months now with another pretty unsettling case involving pretty eerie shadow encounters in his own house. He has caught this thing several times in the past, and the last time we had taken a look at was when a paranormal investigator was spooked out of his basement after probably coming across the dwelling shadow entity. After Dino started contacting the shadow entity tonight in the basement, he also seems to have a creepy encounter with it.
I just want to talk, man. Man, stupid.
Did this thing spook him out of there as well? But it didn't stop there. Dino woke up to loud noises in his bedroom, and then the following unfolded.
No! What do you want? Get out of my house, man!
The shadow seems to have made it into his bedroom, seemingly towering over him as he was still in the bed. How terrifying. I can't wait to see how this case will further develop. This is another strange CCTV recording which was captured in front of another police station. They saw a ghostly object hovering around in the midst of night. What could this be?
Our next video was captured by a CCTV camera in a mall. The story goes that neither the security staff nor customers could see what was going on at the time. Myself, I'm actually not too sure what exactly happened that particular day, and it left me with an eerie feeling. Notice how the security guard controlling the mouse makes us aware of a childlike figure that was captured on the security footage. It is an unusual thin shape that reminds me a lot of a shadow figure. The movement as well is pretty odd. I've never seen many people moving like that. See how the girl just stands still. This goes on for several moments in which we don't see the shadow move once. To me, the shape at this point looks way more like a human than moments earlier. Security staff stated that they could not see the girl in person in the actual mall. But then there is a guard who, in my opinion, notices the girl sitting on the ground very clearly. But I have no idea what exactly happens next. It baffles my mind. The shape follows two customers, phases through one of them, and disappears at the end of the hallway. How do you explain this phenomena? Was it simply a little girl? And this whole video just a hoax? How else could the customers just walk past the shape?
Now we join a lone adventurer as he steps into an abandoned house, enveloped in mystery. With each cautious step, he delves deeper into the chilling history that haunts this place. The locals have forbidden entry, and for good reason. Once upon a time, an enigmatic old man called this house his home. He lived a solitary life until his final days. What makes it more perplexing is that no one else ever resided in this vast structure, but it's the events that occurred after his passing. Neighbors share tales of shadowy figures seen near the second floor windows, and the sound of children's laughter in the dead of night. Armed with this knowledge, our fearless explorer proceeds with caution, prepared for the supernatural. Suddenly, out of thin air, a small object topples. He pauses, trying to find a logical explanation, but none comes to mind. The object fell on its own, leaving him unsettled. But also at the same time, a creepy shadow can be seen entering a room on the stationary camera, and he had no idea that he caught that. Strange. Undeterred, our explorer ascends the creaky staircase, determined to uncover the secrets of the second floor. He sets up another camera, capturing a different angle. Little does he know, within a few frames, a mysterious silhouette appears against the wall. It's only upon later review that he notices the spectral figure. It sends a chill down his spine, but the real terror is yet to unfold. Our brave investigator discovers several mysterious locked rooms, and a sense of unease fills the air, raising his apprehension. Horrifying twist, the door slams shut as soon as he enters, trapping him inside. Panic sets in as he frantically tries to escape, only to find the door firmly locked. Miraculously, the door unlocks itself, and the man is fleeing in terror. The camera abruptly stops recording, leaving the remainder of his escape uncharted. Yet, right before it shuts off, a chilling sight is captured. The lens pans to the room he just left, revealing a shadowy figure standing ominously, observing his frantic retreat. The realization that he was never alone made the man feel quite uneasy, and it left him profoundly disturbed. This was captured by an officer who just started patrolling the night shift at a new job. People told him that this old building might be haunted, but he didn't believe his fellow officers. Just ghost stories, he thought. Well, then the following unfolded.
No mames, güey, necesito que alguien venga, güey. Se escuchan cosas, güey, y No mames, se escucha la puta regadera, güey, del puto baño, güey. No mames. Necesito que alguien venga, güey, me estoy cagando de miedo, güey, a Chile, güey. Oiga, güey. No mames, güey, no prende la puta luz, güey. No mames, Puchi, güey. No seas ojete, güey. No mames. No mames, güey. Hay alguien, güey. A la verga. No mames. Su puta madre, güey. No mames. No mames.
A creepy pale face is peeking out at him from behind a wall. The man states that he clocked out after his night. How terrifying. A security guard spotted something alarming during his night shift at an old gym. On the grainy footage, he thought he saw a person morphing, shifting shape right before his eyes. Could he really have recorded a shapeshifter? Is such a creature even possible? Clara NS, a TikTok user from Germany, realized that the strange face was peeking out of a neighboring house just across the fence. It clearly was not belonging to any of the people who lived there. The question is, does this face belong to a person living in the house, or is it something completely different? This gets even more interesting a couple of days later. Good thing I speak German.
Warte Leute, ich wollte gerade drehen, wieder das Haus, wo die zwei Augen sind. Und darunter steht einfach ein Typ und schaut mich zu. Das ist gruselig. Ah.
Now the same face popped up again, days after. The dude in front of the house, I don't think he had anything to do with it though. Were the eyes paranormal related? I couldn't say. The following video was recorded by a paranormal enthusiast from Mexico and shared on his very own channel, Scariest. He was out exploring a cemetery all by himself that night, and the video in question was recorded shortly before dawn. The man was initially a bit disappointed since he didn't really come across anything noteworthy that night, but after getting home and reviewing all of his footage, he realized that something was perhaps standing just meters away from him.
No sé. Estoy solo, totalmente solo. Y me vale madre lo que piensa la gente. Pero sí, aquí estamos.
A dark shadow entity seems to be standing right in front of him by a grave. Carr swore that nobody else was there, at least as far as he could tell. And why would that person stand in pitch darkness anyway? So, did he capture a spirit here? A ghostly visitor? Or how else do we explain this black silhouette? Very unsettling. Now we want to take a look at a series of videos that were captured by Bailey, a caretaker in a supposedly haunted theater. On his profile, Theater of the Absurd, he had shared some pretty bone-chilling encounters in the past that we also have taken a look at the time. One night he captured something in one of the upper booths of the theater. It was quiet around his profile for a while. He says that it is pretty rare to capture something on video and that he wouldn't upload if nothing interesting was happening. What started him to pick up his phone again was a really unusual encounter that he had one night on one of his recent night shifts. He and his colleague Brad are now both patrolling the night shift, and after some unusual noises from the back of a room, Bailey found this.
Hey Brett. Brad, you good? Hey. You're freaking me out, man. Okay.
It didn't have to be anything paranormal, but it was very strange behavior for his colleague. To just stand there and look at the wall. It made Bailey quite a bit uneasy, to say the least. From this night on, more and more interesting encounters started to unfold again.
Woo! Alright, y'all, my heart is racing. Okay, so, I see this sometimes. I've been trying to catch this on camera. Nothing over here. I promise there's nothing over here. I'm not doing anything to manipulate this. Watch. Look. Do you see that? This is what I'm talking about. Okay, check it out. Let me get another one. Look. I'm not doing anything, I swear. I'm just standing here. I see this all the time. It only happens... Okay, yeah, see? It only happens at this... Okay, that's the biggest I've ever seen it.
This night he was giving a little tour on Instagram, and without even noticing, there seemed to be standing something next to the old workshop.
Okay, so I'm here in an empty theater. Pretty depressing during COVID times. Hopefully we can get things back open. Back there's the shop. This is backstage. Can't see it very well, but what? Look, guys, holy... I'm turning the lights on,
Not necessarily easy to make out, but many believe this to be a shadow person. How unsettling. When Bailey's attention gets grabbed by a loud noise on one of the following night shifts, he goes for another tour with his cell phone, and it would appear that whatever he had captured prior, standing next to the shop, was back yet again.
9 p.m. on a Saturday. This is my life. So I'm walking through the main stage. Here, I'll flip it. Ghost light is on. No one in here. Hello? Okay.
A shadow can be seen, standing on the upper part of the auditorium. He swore that it wasn't his colleague, and that he was quite sure that this had to be one of the ghosts that haunt this place. Do you agree with him? Interesting that he actually saw it this time around, wouldn't you say? Let's keep an eye open on that mystery. Now we are taking a look at some recordings from the infamous haunted Jefferson Hotel, which is known for its many strange ghost sightings. They have several surveillance cameras installed in this old historic building to capture any possible strange activity. Last night, one of the hotel employees got a motion alert on his phone. Apparently, something was seen on one of the upstairs cameras, which was impossible, because nobody but him and his wife were at the hotel. And it was 4 a.m. in the morning.
into the stairwell right here. I'm screen capturing, so just bear with the movement. So I went up to the stairwell here, and I'm looking down the hall, waiting to see for somebody. Noticed nobody was there, and then I went to tell my wife, because I wanted to tell her, hey, there's someone in the hotel. And then I started watching the footage back, and more, it looked like some type of apparition. I don't know. What had happened here is, if you look down at the green door back here, that's room 19, where most of our activity happens here at the hotel anyway. There it is. So to me, that was a person walking by, and I was like, okay. So we searched the hotel. Like I said, nobody was there. So let me show it to you again.
Undoubtedly, we can see a figure walking by all the way in the back of the hallway. And like the man had stated, they searched the whole hotel, but could not find anybody. So, would it be too weird to think that we are seeing one of the many ghosts that are said to haunt the building? There has been another terrifying encounter though that took place when a group of guests stayed in the hotel overnight. On the same floor, they were just talking to each other at the time when something scared them from all across the hallway, just where we saw that figure walking by.
As I was watching the cameras, I noticed that they were talking to each other, and they all jumped back as if something was like yelling at them down the hall. You could see they were all scared. And so I pulled up the footage from the camera down the hall, which would have been down here because that's in the direction they were looking at. And this is what we captured. Listen to this. This is very creepy. So, did you hear that growl? That's what they heard.
Unfortunately, it will remain a mystery what exactly it was, if it was a growl from an angry spirit or something else. The next video was sent by Eric, and he tells me that it was noticed by a couple of security guards that were working and surveilling an old museum located on Piazza Square in Georgia. There seemed to be something really odd appearing out of thin air. As we see, this floating shape suddenly comes around the corner, throws a shadow, and is then disappearing towards the lower part of the camera. Some people speculate that this merely might have been a bug, but how is it possible that we can follow its shadow on the floor? Quite strange. It's like this shape is floating quite fast, leaning into the curve a little before it disappears. I have no idea what's going on, to be honest, but do believe that it is more than just a weird bug. Your thoughts? Following video was shared by Nikki, and she tells us that her mother captured this unsettling video while being on a nightly walk in Real de 14 in Mexico. She had apparently captured a bunch of chilling events, including weird noises and even a shadow sighting, and the woman felt that something was following her the whole time. Let's see. Huge shadow? It was not human. It disappeared.
Vamos a buscar el cerro quemado que tanto me recomendaron.
The burnt hill.
A ver si no me pierdo. Y si me pierdo, pues ni modo, aquí me quedo.
What was that? That was not a bird. I mean, it looks beautiful, but alone? this must be a really old city or whatever this is. I mean, yeah, I see it, a shadow up there again. Look at that. That thing is huge, I think. Wow, look at that thing again. I mean, this is not human. This is weird. What is that?
Y si me pierdo, pues ni modo, aquí me quedo.
Somebody's in despair. Look at that again. Like, huge shadow. Now, this does not look normal to me. Like, I mean, I'm no expert of creatures in this area, but I suppose he continues. Is she just documenting this randomly? Probably, right? I mean, was somebody screaming? Oh, esta muerta. Does it mean these are the dead? Now I believe that something paranormal must have been going on there. Now we want to take a look at an update from paranormal enthusiast Signs and Signals. In the past, they had traveled to an old haunted church one night, and they came across a really creepy looking shadow person peeking from behind the corner. Almost a year later, they venture out to the same church to see if whatever was visiting them that night still remains in there. And it didn't take long until really weird things started to unfold.
What?
Bro. Nah. See, I went through all this before. Nah. We just need to stop coming back here, man. Come on. Nah, I'm good.
Poltergeist activity is a common sign for a strong otherworldly presence. Apparently this church was also home to several rituals that people conducted in the past. A bit later, they captured this.
We've seen you in here before. We know that you're in here. And you know that we know that you're in here.
So why are you here?
Was this the infamous shadow from the past? Who knows, but it got even a little bit more creepy.
Let's just go into the main area.
Yeah, go see
It always shows itself whenever we go in there.
You heard the voice. Was it from like out here? It wasn't from back here.
It sounded like it was from somewhere else in here. It wasn't like in the hall.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's just gonna run over there. That's what you don't care.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
David!
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
After something was seemingly running at them, they come across this shadow just sitting there and watching them. Was it perhaps playing tricks on them? It is very likely. I invite you to check their whole investigation out on Signs and Signals. Next, we want to check out the case of Fernanda Ill, who moved into a new place with her little daughter, and who thinks that there might be negative spirit roaming this place.
At least there are some paranormal events unfolding that make her think that. Her little daughter also seems to see the spirit of a girl, which is what she tells her mom ever so often, capturing different activity almost on a daily basis. Fernanda started documenting them all and sharing them with her followers. Let's take a look. The entity loves to push her daughter's dolls from the upper shelf. And apparently also likes to go for a little snack in the midst of day. It appears to be a playful spirit, doesn't it? On one of the following days, Fernanda realizes that there seems to be something happening again in her home, and she makes it up to the upper floor of the house to further document the weird events. First she goes through all the rooms, like the bathroom and bedroom, since she thought she might have heard a voice coming from there, which is pretty odd. But something even more terrifying was waiting for her a bit later, once the sun had vanished. A shadow girl, or a woman for that matter, just stands there and apparently staring at her. This startled her quite a bit, and what could it have been? She found mud and footsteps in her house shortly after, which was weird since it hasn't rained there or was muddy outside at all. So Fernanda decides to use some baby powder on the floor to track if anything strange can be detected walking through the house again that shouldn't be there in the first place. And in her next update, she shows that actually there appeared to be something walking through the powder. And the size of the prints are pretty much inexplicable, since they don't own a pet that could have caused them. Of course it could have been rats, but they probably would have smaller imprints than that. But what's even more unsettling is that the prints lead to one of her closets. And funny enough, whatever walked through the powder also seemed to walk on the closet door, which is pretty wild if you think about it.
Amigos, solo quiero grabar este video para documentar que hoy a las 3:08 de la mañana se está escuchando que alguien está tocando la puerta de mi casa, lo cual es muy extraño porque para eso tuvieron que abrir el portón eléctrico primero.
Then, 3 o'clock at night, she gets woken up by really loud bangs stemming from the outside of her door, and she says that whoever entered the property must have made it through an electric gate, which is technically impossible. Where did those noises stem from?
Amigos, solo quiero grabar este video para documentar que hoy a las 3:08 de la mañana se está escuchando que alguien está tocando la puerta de mi casa, lo cual es muy extraño porque para eso tuvieron que abrir el portón eléctrico primero y... No hay nadie afuera.
In the next update, she says that she believes that a creature with a tail is responsible for that. That is an urban legend, and she thinks that she has seen it briefly before it disappeared that night into the closet. How odd. And sure enough, within the closet, there are some scratch marks that have been caused. Ah, that's pretty unsettling. And there is a fingernail. It doesn't belong to an animal. It looks human, to be honest. And what does all of that mean? Was it a human inside the closet that was scratching? Unlikely. Maybe something paranormal related. I'll keep you guys posted.